Let's get the mic on. Good morning. Today is Saturday, May 21st. The Omnibus Tax Bill Conference Committee will come to order. Just to kind of give you a lay of the land here today, folks. We're going to go through several items that we have agreed upon. Echo here. We'll be going through several items that have agreement. And we will be discussing those items. We will have a few amendments with those, with several of those provisions. We will be adopting those this morning. Then we will be taking a quick recess while we tie up a few loose ends, and we will be coming back for a second conference committee yet today, but we will be taking a brief recess. So with that, Mr. Chair. You have a few words?
Let's get to it.
Okay, all right. Well, members, the first thing we're going to be talking about is the beginning farmer credit report. And this is Senate Article 2, Section 1. You should have in your packets the A53, which we will be amending on to this provision. Let's see if we have that. And it should be posted online as well. All right. So the A53, Mr. Chair, would you like to move that?
I will move the A53 amendment.
All right, and then we will ask Mr. Arneson just to describe for members and the public what that does. Okay. Oh, yeah, Ms. Pollock, are you online today?
I am, Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you so much. Ms. Pollock, would you speak a bit about the beginning farmer credit report and what we will be seeking to amend today?
Madam Chair and members, this section was part of the Senate bill, and it amended some of the requirements for the beginning farmer credit report to the legislature that's required under current law. And the provision extended the due date of the report by a year in order to include some information about the number of beginning farmers by race and ethnicity, and to the extent available, the number of beginning farmers who are member of a socially disadvantaged group, as that term is defined in the in the United States Code. So what this amendment does is just add gender to one of the items that would be included in the report. And so on line 21.23, it would say the number of beginning farmers by race, gender, and ethnicity.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Pollock. This was Senator Dietzig addition. Any members, any comments or questions on that piece? So we will then adopt Senate Article 2, Section 1 as amended with the A53. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The language is adopted. The second provision, these are the income tax provisions that we're dealing with right now. This has to do with the film credit production costs for a consecutive 12-month period. It's just a bit of a calendaring issue. The language we will be looking to take is House Article 2, Section 5. Ms. Pollock.
Which amendment?
Oh, no, there is no amendment. We are just seeking to adopt House Article 2, Section 5. Are there any questions? Mr. Williams. Mr. Wilms.
Mr. Clayton.
Mr. Clayton, just a brief explanation, please.
Yep, Madam Chair, members, this just allows the $1 million threshold under the film credit currently to apply to any consecutive 12-month period beginning when expenditures are first made in Minnesota instead of current law, which requires that in a taxable year.
Thank you. Any questions, members? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is adopted. The next item is the pass-through entity tax changes. And we will be seeking to take Senate Article 2, Sections 4 and 6 as amended. I'm going to ask Ms. Pollock to briefly discuss that. And I am looking for the amendment. But Ms. Pollock, if you could speak to that, I believe this is where there were four agreed-upon provisions, but one still needed a little work, and I'm so thankful that we were able to finish this today. All right, Ms. Pollock.
Madam Chair, the amendment is the A57.
Okay, just let everybody get that. It should be posted as well. Oh, although I don't have it. Let's find it online. Who's got the A57?
Those are the 488.
It is posted online. So let's find that A57. Actually, Marissa, can you pull that up? And I don't know that we have a printer here, but we should get it. So we're going to come back to that one. I do want to make sure members have that in front of them. So Marissa's going to pull that up from online and print copies for members. Public can find that online as well. All right, let's hold off on that one for a moment. Our last income tax provision we seek to adopt today deals with single member LLCs eligible to claim the credit for taxes paid to another state. This is House language, Article 2, Section 13, and I believe this would be Mr. Clayton.
Madam Chair and members, this is a clarifying change that allows the sole member of a single member LLC to claim the credit for taxes paid to another state when the entity of which the single member is a part has paid an entity level tax in another state.
Any questions, members, comments? Seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That section is adopted. I don't see that we have our amendment yet. They're printing it, all right. Okay, we also will need the A56 printed. That's not in the packets either. A56,
I think we have that.
all right. We will, until we get the pass-through entity tax change. Okay. Okay. Yes, we still. Okay, great. All right, members, while we're waiting to get those documents, we're going to move down to the property taxes. And the first section we hope to adopt is Article 4, Section 6, as amended. That would be the A56 amendment. And I see Mr. Wilms. If you could speak to that, please. No? Jared?
Mr. Swanson.
Mr. Swanson?
Madam Chair and members, this provision would extend a property tax exemption for a property in Minneapolis owned by the Minnesota Chippewa tribe. There was a version of the adoption document that had a typo in the amendment number for this provision, so this should be the A56 amendment.
Madam Chair, I'll move the A56 amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All those in favor of the A56 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Any questions? No? All right. The A56 is adopted. Yes, and members, we do want to then adopt the underlying provision as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So the provision as amended with the A56 is adopted. While we're on property taxes, we will be looking at Senate Article 4, Sections 5, 9, 14, and 17. As amended, I'm looking to see what amendment number that is. This is Affordable Housing Market Value Exclusion. I believe this is a Senator Bach provision. And we will call on Mr. Sylvia, who's online today.
Madam Chair and members, Senate Article 4, Sections 5, 9, 14, and 17 establish an affordable housing market value exclusion program. The A56 amendment modifies Section 17, which adds this exclusion to the property tax statement. Section 17 in the Senate bill also included the ag buffer credit to the statement. So the A55 removes reference to the ag buffer credit. Section,
Mr. Sylvia, we're having just a bit of a question here.
Yeah, we might have adopted the wrong amendment.
We have an A56 that we
55?
adopted,
Yeah, I think,
we,
You said 56 and I said 55.
I think
well,
we've got to go back on that
we
one.
need to go back here.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
this is Kathy Shellhouse Fiscal. The 856 associated with the tax exemption for the Minnesota Chippewa tribe is correct.
yes.
I will ask my colleague, Mr. Sylvia, which amendment do you have?
For,
the A55.
Oh, okay.
oh, we
amendment.
misheard.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Mr.
My
Sylvia,
apologies.
all is good.
My apologies, Madam Chair, members. The A55 amendment modifies Section 17 of the House, excuse me, of the Senate, Article 4. This relates to the adding the exclusion to the property tax statement. This section also added the ag buffer credit to the property tax statement, and that addition is being removed in the A55 amendment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sylvia. Before we vote on the amendment, that's the A55, are there any questions, comments? All right, all those in favor of the A55 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So the A55 is adopted. Now let's speak to the provision that we would like to adopt, which is the Senate Article 4, Sections 5, 9, 14, and 17, as amended by the A55. And are there any comments or questions on that? Do we want any further discussion? We're all fully informed and ready to vote? All right. All those in favor of adopting as amended Senate Article 4, Sections 5, 9, 14, and 17 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. The article is adopted. And then the last provision in property tax members deals with child protection, that cost study, Office of the Legislative Auditor. We will be looking to adopt House Article 4, Section 35. Any comments on that? Questions? Okay, all those in favor of adopting House Article 4, Section 35 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The article is adopted. All right, and members, I just realized you should be making these motions. I need to make them one at the chair.
No,
All right, so,
you're good.
so, members, the A57 is now printed and out, and so we're going to go back up to, on the income tax section, we are going to, this has to do with the pass-through entity tax changes, and that would be Senate Article 2, Sections 4 and 6 as amended. And members, that would be with the A57, so I'll have
Chair Davids move it. 'cause
Chair
that's-
Davids.
Thank you very much, Chair Nelson. I understand that there's a couple drafting errors on this one, or is the 57 the corrected one? Maybe Ms. Pollock could help us out here.
Ms. Paula.
Madam Chair, Representative Davids, there was a drafting error in an earlier version of this, but I believe the A57 is the correct version.
Oh.
I have not heard anything to the contrary about the A57.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Pollock. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You want to move it?
Would you like to move the A57?
I'd be honored to. I'll move the A57 amendment.
All right, thank you. And then Ms. Pollock let's just, if you could just briefly go through this amendment, and we will adopt it.
Madam Chair and members, the amendment reflects some agreed upon language between the department and some stakeholders, clarifying provisions regarding allocation of income for non-resident and resident owners of qualifying entities. The amendment also specifies that a qualifying entity who elects to file and pay as a PTE must exclude partners, members, shareholders, or owners who are not qualifying owners. The amendment also specifies that these provisions sunset at the same time as the federal SALT cap expires, which, as you'll recall, was the kind of initiative for the PTE tax as a mechanism around the federal SALT cap. Madam Chair, Section 6 in the amendment, starting at 3.28, is the same as Section 6 in the Senate bill, except there is an updated effective date to be effective beginning in tax year 2022.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pollock.
Madam Chair.
Representative Davids.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I would like to be on the record as thanking the Department of Revenue for working on this and getting this right. We were able to get this last piece hopefully across the finish line, so I'd like to thank the department.
Yes, thank you, Chair Davids. Those would be my comments as well. We know that the department, we've been working on this as we've gone through conference committee. Mr. Clayton.
Madam Chair and members, sorry, I just was wondering if Ms. Pollock could clarify whether the tie to the federal expiration of the SALT cap is intended or not intended to be in this amendment? I didn't quite catch what she said.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Clayton. I believe it is in the amendment, but Ms. Pollock?
Madam Chair, Mr. Clayman, as far as I understood, this was intended to be in the amendment, but if that's not the case, I will certainly look into that.
So,
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Clayton.
So just to clarify, on lines 2.1 to 2.2 of the amendment, I believe that would sever the connection
yeah,
between
we don't want to do that.
the expiration of the credit federally and the state credit. So I just want to make sure that that's the intent of the conferees by adopting this amendment.
Mr. Clayton, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, so thank you, Madam Chair. So last year, we connected this provision, and Mr. Clayman, correct me if I'm wrong, but we connected this to the SALT cap by the federal government. When that would go away, this would go away because there would be no need for it. Does this change that, Mr. Clayman?
So, Madam Chair and members, yeah, sorry for the confusion. I just realized on line 3.21 to 3.24 that's where that provision was moved to. So my apologies, I didn't get a chance to review this before the hearing this morning, so it's okay.
Madam Chair, that's correct.
Thank you, Ms. Pollock. And yes, Chair Davids.
Thank you, Chair Nelson. I think we might still have just a little cleanup on this, where line 2 is out and it says 3. It says may only be made by qualifying owners who collectively hold more than 50% of the ownership interests. Is that correct, Ms. Pollock? So that we'd add more than, we'd add then 50%, and then we'd add of the ownership interest, we'd add an S and make it interests.
Madam Chair, Representative Davids, I'm sorry, what page and line are you referring to?
Oh, it's on the new amendment.
That's the A57?
Yeah.
2.19? 2.9 is what I'm hearing?
Yes, thank you.
2.9.
Thank you.
Would you orally restate what you believe you'd like the amendment to read, Representative Davids?
Okay, where it says 50 on the far right part of 2.9, delete the A, I believe. And then it should say 50% of the ownership interests.
All right, Ms. Pollock, could you read back? I think Representative Davids, are you making an oral amendment?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, yes.
Okay, could you please read back Representative Davids' oral amendment, that entire line 2.19 and 2.110 as proposed by the oral amendment? Ms. Pollock?
2.9.
Madam Chair and members, if I'm following correctly, the language would read, may only be made by qualifying owners who collectively hold more than 50% ownership interests, plural, in the qualifying entity held by qualifying owners.
Madam Chair, we're getting there.
Yes.
It'd be delete the A and then to say 50% of the ownership interests.
So, thank you. So Ms. Pollock, it'd be singular then.
We
And
should
it's-
add in the of the, Madam Chair, and then after ownership interest, it should be an S on the end of interest.
Yes. Clarifying language. Ms. Pollock?
Madam Chair and members, I'll try to restate this again. 2.9 would read, may only be made by qualifying owners who collectively hold more than 50% of the ownership interests in the qualifying entity held by qualifying owners.
Yes. Thank you. Representative Davids?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's
Yes.
perfect.
So,
Any,
Madam Chair,
yes, Chair Marquardt.
so Ms. Pollack or Mr. Clayman, does that change the intent of this wording? I mean, is there any substantive change here that we're doing with this?
Madam Chair, Chair Marquardt, I would have to review it a bit. Maybe Mr. Clayman can fill in here. I'm not aware of this change or if it's an error in the amendment. So I would just need a few minutes to review it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Members, we are going to be recessing shortly and coming back. Let's give staff time and also the department to review this oral amendment proposed, Rep. Davids.
Thank
And
you.
then we will address this
Thank
when
you,
we
Madam
come
Chair.
back.
Thank you
So
very
thank
much.
you. Would you kindly withdraw your oral amendment for the moment?
I will withdraw my oral amendment.
Thank you. We will address this later today. Thank you. All right. Then, members, so we are now on aids and credits, I believe. And this will be Mr. Arneson's discussion. We will start with local government aid penalty forgiveness for the city of Bena. Mr. Arneson.
Excuse me, Madam Chair and members, these two local government aid penalty forgiveness provisions are in the Senate bill. Neither of them carry any general fund cost, and both of them are constructed in the same way as the provisions for the cities of Morton and Echo that the conference committee has already adopted.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll move Senate Article 5, Section 9.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll move Senate Article 5, Section 10.
Thank you, Chair Marquardt. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The provisions are adopted. Members, now we'll move down to miscellaneous, and individual staff members will take these as in their purview. The first is tax expenditure purpose statement submission by the tax committee chairs.
I can do that one.
Oh,
Madam Chair and members,
Arneson.
this first row is a Senate provision. Members will recall that in the underlying bill, the Senate proposed to remove the requirement that a bill provide purpose statements. And also the Senate originally proposed to remove the requirement that tax expenditures be provided an expiration date. The amendment marked A52 removes the proposed language with regard to the expiration dates of the tax expenditures. And so it would effectively return paragraph C of Senate Article 9, Section 1 back to current law. And then secondly, after some conversation with House staff and reviser staff, because the Senate proposes to remove the requirement that a bill itself contain purpose statements, we thought it appropriate to also propose the A31 amendment. This amendment relates to the duties of the Tax Expenditure Review Commission and the tax expenditure budget itself. And I think it's fair to say that the A31 just conforms to the new possibility that the bill may but is not required to include purpose statements. And if they're not supplied under the bill language, then the chairs submit them to the commission.
Thank Thank you,
Yep.
Mr. Arneson. Members, any comments, questions? All right, we will, would you like to move to the A31, Mr. Chair?
Do we need to move both of those
Yes.
amendments? Okay,
Yeah.
so let's move Madam Chair, I'll move the A52 amendment.
All those in favor? This is about the tax expenditure expirations. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The A52 is adopted.
Madam Chair, I'll move the A31 amendment.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The A31 is adopted. Now to the adopting Senate Article 9, Sections 1 and, I can't read that.
Number 2.
1 as
Oh, okay.
amended with the A52 and 31 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The article is adopted. The next on our list to seek for adoption is report on expiring tax expenditures. This is Senate Article 9, Section 2. Mr. Arnott?
Madam Chair, members will recall that this Senate proposal requires that the commissioner each October provide a report to the legislature listing the tax expenditures that would expire before July 1st of the subsequent calendar year without legislative enactments.
Madam Chair, I'll move Senate Article 9, Section 2.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The article is adopted. Thank you. Next on our list is Mr. Willems, deferred compensation withholding. That would be Senate Article 9, Section 3.
We have to do this one yet. Oh, sorry. We have to, one more tax expenditure.
Oh, before we skip that, before we do that, there's one more tax expenditure item, so hold off on that. And we will look at House Article 10, Sections 1 and 2. That would be Mr. Williams,
Yep.
please.
Chair Nelson and members, House Article 10, Sections 1 and 2 pertain to the Tax Expenditure Review Commission. Those are the two changes about the initial period of review being sort of optionally up to 3 years rather than required to be 3 years, and then also that technical change about the reporting period covered by the commission's report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Would you like to move your motion?
Madam Chair, I will move House Article 10, Sections 1 and 2.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The article is adopted. Next on our list are the deferred compensation withholdings. We'll be seeking to adopt Senate Article 9, Section 3. Mr. Arneson?
Madam Chair, this section, as members recall, is the Senate section that proposes that for periodic and non-periodic payments for deferred comp and other similar types of payments, that the withholding amount need not be the amount as if the payment were wages, but would be a flat rate or another rate as indicated by the recipient of the payment.
Representative Davids.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I want to thank the Senate and the department. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'd like to thank the Senate in all seriousness.
Let's get out the tape recorder.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have those anymore. Sorry.
In all seriousness, this it's a bigger deal. It might not look like much, but it is a very big deal for a lot of people in the state, and it was in the Senate, and I should have pushed it in the House, but I guess I didn't need to because the department and the Senate got some very, very good language here, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator, sorry about that, Representative Davids. But actually, that does show really the value of having different bodies coming together. We do get the best doing that. So any other comments, members? All right, all those,
We haven't moved it yet.
would you like to move that?
I would move that provision, Madam Chair.
Okay, that would be Senate Article 9.
Senate Article 3, Section, or 9,
9, Section 3.
Yes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The article is adopted. Members, next we have the production tax, the Iron Range Education Account, Taconite Environmental
Oh,
Fund,
jeez.
County Road and Bridge Fund. I wonder whose provision this is. Well, I'm a little confused though because it's a House provision, but, well, no, it's a Senate provision too. So is this, Mr. Swanson.
Madam Chair and members, I'll start with, there are 3 sections in this line on the table. I'll start with Senate Article 9, Section 7. This would eliminate a 5 cents per taxable ton increase to the production tax distribution to the County Road and Bridge Fund, which was set to begin in 2024. So Article 9, Section 7 would eliminate that 5 cents per taxable ton increase. And moving on to House Article 10, Sections 14 and 15, these sections would initially, allow that 5 cents per taxable ton to stay in the Iron Range Consolidation and Cooperatively Operated School Account for an additional 20 years to extended to 2043. And then at that time, that 5 cents per taxable ton would be allocated to the Taconite Environmental Fund. That's House Article 10, Section 15.
Thank you. Representative Lesley.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to report back that the negotiations between 2 Iron Rangers went very well. Senator Bach told me what he wanted, and I said yes.
Senator Bach.
I don't think in all my years that I've ever seen a tax bill without a taconite.
No.
So small as this one is, I'm glad we finally have one. Madam Chair, I'd love to make the motion as described by the council.
Thank you. Any further comments, members? All right. All those in favor of adopting House Article 10, Sections 14 and 15, Senate Article 9, Section 7, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The taconite provision has been adopted. All right. All right, we have one item left. Oh, kind of still up in that iron range there. Ely School District's bonds, House Article 10, Section 33. Who's got that? Mr. Swanson.
Madam Chair and members, House Article 10, Section 33 would authorize the Ely School District to issue up to $9.5 million in bonds for school facilities and buildings. These bonds would be able to be issued without referendum and would be excluded from the calculations of levy and bonding limits for the district.
Thank you. Any comments on that? Questions? All right. I'd like to move that provision. Senator Bach. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That article will be adopted. I think we have exhausted for the moment our list of things for adoption today. Our plan is we are very close on many, many other items that we will we'll take a brief recess.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Yes, Chair Youakim.
No, I didn't have my coffee this morning quick enough to look and bring this up when we adopted the A56. I just have a quick question for nonpartisan staff. It looks like the way it's written, the county would be paying all the refund, not the municipality.
Who could address that? Mr. Swanson.
Madam Chair and Representative Youakim, the refund would be paid by the county because any tax that had been paid on this property already would have been submitted to the county. So even though the payments might be meant for the city or the school district, it's the county that receives the payments. So in this case, the county would be refunding any locally paid property taxes on behalf of the other jurisdictions to the property owner.
So that.
Chair Youakim.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the county, didn't the city get the property tax then after it was remitted to the county? So the city would have benefited. So I was just wondering if we could make an amendment so that each jurisdiction's paying back their portion instead of the county picking up the whole thing.
If I could add some other discussion to this point before we move to Mr. Swanson. I saw Senator Bach, you had your hand up. Senator Bach.
I'm at a lost track here, but there was sharing some money on the spreadsheet for some property tax refunds in Cook and Lewis County. I was not sure we got the language that calls the draft into the bill.
Oh.
It's 837.
Oh, excuse me, Senator Bach, we're going to hang on to that. I thought maybe your comments were to Chair Youakim's question. So we're going to continue that line of questioning and get that cleared up. Chair Youakim. Or Mr. Swanson.
Madam Chair and Representative Youakim, so any first half payments that the property owner would have made in 2022 would have been paid to the county. I'm not sure the timing on the distribution of those payments to the local jurisdictions. But I believe we've done similar provisions to this in the past, and that the county is sort of able to make settlement of these payments to the property owner, and without, having to make payments on behalf of other jurisdictions. But I can look into that a little bit more this morning and get back to you with more details on that.
Yes, and then some more clarification as well. Chair Weber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to comment also, it seems to me that it would be unfair to have county refunding money that may have been received by other taxing authorities. And so if that's the way it works, maybe we should be looking at a change that corrects that situation.
Chair Weber and Chair Youakim, I don't know that is the intention. This is a House article. Do you recall this discussion?
Oh, we did not have this provision in the bill,
Okay.
in our bill. That's the affordable housing market value.
No, Madam Chair, we did, it's the Chippewa tribe land.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure who's paying it back is who received the money, so maybe we can discuss it after we recess and we'll work it out. I think I have an amendment.
Yeah,
so.
we will discuss that in our recess. Please don't lose track of that,
I won't.
Chair
Thank you.
Weber as well.
Sure.
At this point, it is adopted. If we need to do something else, we will do so when we come back. All right. Any further comments? Senator Bach.
Well, Madam Chair, we're carrying some money on this spreadsheet for some property tax refunds on the North Shore relative to, and I think you probably all remember the challenge we had last year with seasonal rec property being rented over 186 days, being classified commercial. Last year, we created a new classification for them, but those cabin owners for that year ended up paying commercial property tax. So we're carrying some money on this spreadsheet to provide some refunds for what happened with that. But I don't believe we're carrying the language. It's the 837.
Senator Bach, we are not to that part yet of things on our spreadsheet with costs, but we will be recessing and coming back to address those kind of things. I know you've got some bonding commitments in front of you, so we hope you are here as we adopt these things, but would you like to speak to this provision now, just in case? We're not going to act on it right now, but you may want to speak to it.
I think I kind of did. What happened is because they got classified commercial for 1 year, the cabin owners ended up paying the commercial tax rate. And that created a problem because that also created a problem in the Iron Range fiscal disparities pool. So some 40% of that commercial ended up in the pool, so the county didn't actually even get it. So this provides a refund mechanism that the county auditor, and not a refund unless their property taxes went up by more than 10%, so it's not a total refund for people. But we're carrying the money on the spreadsheet, but we need some language. So Madam Chair, if I'm not here, if we can just make sure we adopt the 837.
Yes,
council worked on.
we will keep that A37 in front of the committee. Thank
And then
you.
one other thing, Madam Chair, same thing in case I'm not here. Maybe council can tell me, did we adopt Senate Article 4, Section 9? That was the 50% market value exclusion.
Yeah.
We will be doing so.
We haven't done it yet?
We did.
We did.
Yeah,
We adopted that.
Thank you.
here we go. Thank you.
Not paying attention, I guess.
Yes, we did. So Senator Bach, that one has been adopted.
As amended.
Senator Rest.
Also, with regard to the issue that Senator Bach just brought up, I think there was a reclassification then of that property, so that just because something is rented, it is not, doesn't change it from seasonal rec exactly into commercial. So that is going to be a big issue on the North Shore, so I think the provision is well-founded, and I'm certainly going to be supporting it.
Thank you for those additional comments, Senator Rest. So, members, that was just a look ahead at one of the things that we'll be looking at when we come back. Chair Marquart, we've finished our first morning agenda today. We will be recessing. How much time should we say? 2 o'clock, so everyone gets lunch?
Madam Chair, we go into session at noon, so there'll be a little, not that, but, so at least check in and so forth.
Yes.
So maybe if we get a good lunch and so forth, 1 or 2 o'clock?
Yeah, let's tentatively say that we're coming back at 1, knowing, these things are fluid. Oh, I'm in session at 1. Okay. Well, we can make that work. Let's move it till 2. Let's get session started, get everybody rolling in their sessions. And then, we will be recessing until 2 o'clock today with the intention of adopting those items that have costs associated with them, or revenue estimates. All right. See you at 2.